ordinance.
Good evening, Mr. Leo, 40 Robinson Road. So the first thing I'll say is just the late hour here. I mean, it's 1 a.m. Public comment is opening. This paper is extremely substantive. Like, this chamber should be packed. And I'm sure a lot of people wanted to speak about this tonight, but couldn't because of how much time we spent on the other paper. I'll try to just be as condensed as possible with my thoughts on this matter. First of all, I'll start with the positive thing. That is, I do think it's a good thing to have these kind of press release statements on positions. So I appreciate that the council president did that in the form of a speech, and that the mayor released what could be called a press release, just basically saying where they're at. I think that's helpful for the public in following. So I would encourage putting things in writing so people can follow what's going on, because really developments are happening rather fast. I don't support extending the INNIS contract unless conditions are met. I think it's, before we even talk about that, first we have to say, obviously, this is coming as a result of a pretty big public backlash against changes, when residents actually started to become informed about what was going to happen if these changes were approved. So it goes to show you that we can't assume a louder vocal minority of activist residents are representative of what all residents think, right? And we have to also think about, yes, there were probably election concerns that got us to this point as well. So I think with the conditions that the mayor has put out there, I think generally they're pretty reasonable. But I think the first and most important one has to be restarting this process, given the concerns that have been expressed. And I don't think the Community Development Board, based on the feedback it has received, could in good conscience possibly recommend to you the map in its current form for a final vote, just because of all the feedback criticizing it that has been received. So I would encourage all of you to work with the mayor, try to reach an agreement here, and hopefully it's not just a repackaging of what has been extensively criticized. I think it's important that all of you proceed in good faith here, acknowledge this desire not for dramatic density increases that harms the character of our community. People move to Medford because they don't want to live in a place like Somerville or Cambridge. It's not because they want a replica of it. We can address issues with housing demand without wiping out the reasons that Medford is a good place to live. It does offer this increasingly rare thing in the overpopulated world that we live in, called home ownership. I think this kind of do or die alarmism that we've been seeing from people who think we need the density at all costs, I don't think it's helping anyone. And I think it's really ignoring this problem. Affordable housing is not a new one. And this burden is really being placed disproportionately.
Thank you. That's time.
On suburban communities like Medford. So work with the mayor. Thank you.